Isaiah Kiner-Falefa is on an unreal redemption arc amongst Yankees fans. He had a walk-off hit in the series in this stretch. He had 3 home runs in this stretch. He had a triple. He had a few doubles, a bunch of RBIs put together. I mean, his WRC plus is only 97 because he's IKF and he doesn't have a lot of power. But IKF in this 2 week stretch scored 6 runs, had 11 RBI, leading the Yankees more than Aaron Judge. Um, it's really unreal. 12 hits, a 300 batting average. It's been really cool to see, and he's been playing solid defense all across the field. What do you think of IKF's new role with the Yankees and his recent production?
I mean, I love him. He's the best, greatest of all time. I love how he's fully embraced center field and just playing the outfield in general. He doesn't look all that graceful when he makes plays out there, but he makes them. He's been reliable. He doesn't have the best arm in the world, but he knows how to get to spots well enough to make more difficult plays. And even just like standard plays that have like an 85% catch probability where you like even the eye test tells you it looks a little bit harder than that. He still manages to pull away with the ball at the end of the day. Whereas like Jake Bauers, for example, we'll get to him later because he has contributed a lot offensively, but Bauers looks very clunky out there, whereas IKF does not at all. He actually looks like he's gained a newfound sense of confidence while moving to the outfield, and that also displays really well over at the plate as well. And to get back to your point with the WRC plus, you said it was like 97.
Yep.
Got to keep in mind it was like 45 or 52 months ago.
Yep.
So he's been climbing with that significantly. I think that if he didn't have such a slow start, you're looking at a guy that's maybe like a 105 to 110 at this point. And the power has gone up significantly. And apparently, like that's one of the ideologies that the Yankees have worked with him this year. He wanted to kind of still be a slap hitter that just hits the ball in the gaps here and there and, like tries to focus on contact first. And the Yankees really ingrained with him, hey, like that's cool, but you have enough tools to at least hit for a little bit more pop. So we want you to try to like work on launching the ball a little bit better. And he was hesitant to do it, but ultimately stuck with it. And he's like paying dividends with it right now. Because you can kind of see him getting into that load. He coils his hips a lot more than he used to. He starts his load earlier, so he has no issues catching up to good velocity. And he's just on everything. Like he's one of those guys with his bat to ball skills, plus the new added ideology of swinging for power and just swinging the bat hard. He's unlocking a new level of IKF essentially. And he is the utility player that we've always kind of needed. And he's also fulfilling what Waldo couldn't fulfill at the beginning of the season. And that's very important at this rate. He's probably the most valuable player that's on the field right now for the Yankees.
Yeah, I mean, he is one of those formidable bats in the Yankees lineup. And it's awesome that, I mean, Rizzo has been being Rizzo. I mean, he had a bit of a down stretch, but he was still productive if you're looking at the OPS side, even though the batting average was right around 200. But wasn't getting a lot of runs in. But now you have Stanton Donaldson and Jake Bauers have really been doing the damage behind Aaron Judge. And yeah, he is a formidable bat in the lineup. He's a guy that when he comes up sixth, seventh, I mean, he had 2 home runs in Dodger Stadium. So it is someone who you really fear, and he is one of the feature hitters of our lineup. Like he's going to be on this roster indefinitely because he's been proving it. And another guy who's had a really interesting run of recent is Willie Calhoun, because Willie Calhoun seems like he's a power guy, but he hasn't really been a power guy. But his big thing, Willie Calhoun, over the last 16 games, he has a below 3 strikeout percentage.
It's
Like he
crazy.
just makes contact and he's spraying the ball all over. Willie Calhoun has 9 hits in his 31 at bats. That's good for a 300 batting average. 5 of them are singles, 4 doubles, no homers. But that's not his thing. Just spraying hits around the field. And you think of a guy with his kind of frame, even though he's shorter, is going to give you a bunch of pop. But he's like a contact Prince Fielder kind of player.
I was going to say we have one of those guys in the league right now. That's Luis Ariz.
Yep.
He is the Yankees poor man's Luis Ariz right now. And like, if you can get that player on his contract, and he a few years ago was the statistically worst player in the league, I believe. they've retooled his swing really well to the point where it almost feels like him and Jake Bauers have been successful reclamation projects up until this point. And it's really frustrating to see the Yankees not have that star outfielder, but at the same time, you can't fully get on them right now because these guys are producing. And I think it was probably looking like he was a potential DFA option about 5 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago, whatever that may have been. And once Boone went out and kind of defended him, saying this is a guy who has potential to really hit well for us, he's gone out and done it. So there's really no negatives to take away from his play right now, other than he's just not that much of an outfielder. But in terms of being a bat, like I'll take that contact bat any day when it comes to this lineup that's prone to the strikeouts, having guys like Volpe and DJ in there right now. So like he balances out things really well, and they have another lefty option that they can kind of rely on to at least get the ball in play and hit situationally.
Amongst Yankees with at least 20 plate appearances in the last 3 weeks, Aaron Judge is first in WRC plus, second is Jake Bauers, third is Willie Calhoun, fourth is IKF. Willie Calhoun, like you said, I think they really have retooled his swing. Because it looks like his barrel just lingers in the zone for a really long time. When I remember seeing Willie Calhoun in Texas, he would hit a few all over, but there were times where pitchers would just throw pitches with a lot of movement, low and in, backdoor sliders that would just seem to miss his bat path, that he would just end up rolling over or weak ground balls to short or to first, or striking out a lot higher. And right now, I think he's getting solid contact through the zone. He's not even looking to be a gap-to-gap doubles guy. I think he'll get that when he gets a hold of one. But because he just keeps the barrel strong through the zone for a really long time, whenever it meets the barrel, it's going to be a hard hit ball that finds grass. And he's finding holes. He's getting over middle infielders' heads. It's been impressive, but I think it begs the problem of, now with Stanton coming back off of an injury, Willie Calhoun not being a great projectable outfielder. How often do you want to run Willie Calhoun out in right field? When is Stanton going to be healthy enough that the Yankees feel to put him in the outfield? Because I think those guys are going to have to rotate. And if you're looking at Stanton and Calhoun being two of your best four hitters in the lineup, one of them is going to have to DH, and you're going to have to figure out what does that mean for DJ? What does that mean for Donaldson? And what does that mean for your defensive outfield? Because right now it seems very bleak because nobody is an outfielder by trade except for Calhoun, who's the worst outfielder of the options.
It's such a weird situation to be in because you can't, like I said, you can't be mad because they're all producing at the same time. But at the same time, they all play the same positions. They have very similar profiles. And Stan not being able to play the outfield kind of helps those guys get more reps. But at the same time, you really need Stan to be able to play the outfield because you're paying him a lot of money. And he's also one of the true proven kind of outfielder guys that they have. Although at this point in his career, he's not quite as limber as he used to be, and he doesn't move quite as well. He still has a pretty good arm, but other than that, he's really not a threat in the outfield. So it's a weird situation. Like I really don't know where to go with it. I feel like you have to eventually, and it sucks to say it, you either have to DFA someone or you have to trade someone. It's just kind of inevitable at this point. And we can also lead into the Gleyber Torres situation with that point because it just makes things a lot harder. Gleyber has probably been top 4 most productive players on the team so far this season.
Mm-hmm.
He's changed up his approach to the plate where he's pretty much striking out as much as he walks, if not more walks than strikeouts.
Which is such a drastic change for Gleyber.
It's like he's almost fully adapted over his 2-strike approach that he's had in previous seasons while still doing the leg kick and all that. I'm not really sure what exactly he's changed in his swing. It does look like he's got a lot more balance and he's staying back on his leg a little bit longer. So he's more leveraged right now. I don't know how to fully explain it, but he's being selective. He's not swinging at balls. So he's staying within the zone and he's swinging like a veteran and he's only 26 years old. And that's really impressive. And it kind of has silenced all the conversations that we've had about having to potentially trade him. And I mean, the fact of the matter, he probably would have the most value out of anyone if you were to trade someone. So I wouldn't still be shocked if they did it. It seems like if they were to trade him, you're more likely to see that at the end of the year because they simply can't stay afloat if you're taking him out of this lineup right now. unless you're bringing in like two other really good bats. But I don't know. There's just a really weird pileup kind of all throughout the Yankees major league system at the moment. And that also trickles down to the minors and the AAA, AA, single A. Like guys are eventually going to have to be moved up or traded. So the next month is going to be very telling